for coming back from tea break. Lovely to see you all. My name's Andy Carmone. I'm the Clinical Science Director at Clinton Health Access Initiative and co-founder of Indigenous Health Solutions, which is an inclusive development non-governmental organization. I'm a member of the C20 International Advisory Committee and one of the international coordinators for the Integrated Holistic Health Working Group. I'll be hosting this session together with my co-host, Ambassador Gopinathan Achamkulangare, who's sitting at the edge of the panel there. And I'd like to welcome you all to our fifth session of the day, Holistic Wellbeing and Inclusive Societies. In this session, we'll be spotlighting the topics and principles put forth in the policy briefs prepared by 3 C20 working groups: Integrated Holistic Health, Mind, Body, and Environment, Disability, Equity, and Justice, and Diversity, Inclusion, and Mutual Respect. The themes that emerged from these working groups range from aspirational to pragmatic, but all share the idea that we have a collective responsibility for health, from mental health of individuals through to health of the planet, and that part of this collective responsibility is consideration and inclusion for all people. Inclusion plays a large role in the policy recommendations of these working groups. Inclusion is represented not only in terms of need for investment in programming and services, but also in terms of inclusion through consultation, or to borrow a phrase from HIV advocates, nothing for us without us approach. These working groups also espouse, These working groups also espouse the idea that there is intrinsic value in diversity, that recognizing differences in our lived experiences and demonstrating how when we take care of one another, regardless of differences, the quality of all of our lived experiences improves. Today, we're fortunate to welcome we were going to welcome 3 esteemed speakers. I would like to welcome our first esteemed speaker, Ms. Loon Vio of Partners in Health. Loon is Chief Gender and Social Equity Officer at Partners in Health, or PIH. She joined PIH in 1988, and over the next 30 years, she was instrumental in expanding PIH's work from just one facility in the Central Plateau of Haiti to over 16, and from Haiti to 11 countries around the world. With her leadership, PIH has grown to serve 4 million people with high-quality primary care. In 1990, Ms. Vio pioneered Central Haiti's first women's health center, known as Projet Santé Femme, before launching female-centered health trainings, literacy programs, and scholarships. She's a recipient of the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Award, and importantly, she's the founder and director of Zanmi Beni, an organization that cares for 64 people living with disabilities. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Ms. Loon Vio.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Carmone, for the kind introduction. I know you showed me how to change the slide, but the first one. No, back. Okay. I would like to congratulate India for hosting the G20. I would also like to thank the C20 committee for the invitation to participate in this important gathering. I appreciate this opportunity to share the stage with global leaders committed to making our world a better place. I live in Haiti. Haiti is a small country located in the Caribbean. Although Haiti is not part of the G20, We are part of one earth, one family, one future. Together, we are stronger. Over the last 35 years, I have dedicated my life to the Partners in Health mission, a mission focused on a preferential option to accompany those in greatest need. Partners in Health is a non-profit social justice organization striving to make healthcare a human right for all people. We work in 11 countries around the world with over 18,000 staff globally, of which 95% or more are host country nationals. We work with governments in supporting close to 400 health facilities. Our ultimate purpose is to balance the scales of equity. We must take sides with the poorest and sickest communities first and foremost. To make a preferential option in healthcare is to focus on those systematically robbed of the universal human right to fulfill their potential. Essentially, our work is accompaniment. That is, open-ended commitment to working with and learning from the experience of those who struggle to secure healthcare. I'm too tall. Thank you. Oh, better. Oh, I can see you now. I'm going to continue, not restart, right? These same individuals experience material disadvantage at the hands of those who control global resources, Guided by this mission, we envision social justice as part of restoring dignity and ensuring resources are available to all. Hand in hand, we journey with our patients until they deem it no longer necessary. We bear witness to suffering and injustice. We fight despair with solidarity. We change global health with evidence. In the battle to achieve the 2030 goal of universal health care, we stand front and center to oppose the widespread bias at the root of the global push for selective primary care. We form coalitions of like-minded partners and organize events with global leaders. We promote our belief that health systems can only function if they can deliver prevention and treatment with adequate staff, space, systems, and social support. Strong health systems reduce gaps in equitable healthcare and are resilient to future pandemics and disasters. I was asked to address the UN Security Council in April 2019 to speak about the challenges of Haitian women and children. Imagine, it took 62 years for the United Nations Security Council to ask me, a woman representing civil society, to speak about Haiti's struggle for equity. I shared with the members of the UN Security Council that for a better future for our mothers, for our sisters, cousins, for a better future for our daughters, we must support women's participation in public and political life at all levels. We must advocate for better laws. We must advocate for affordable health care, quality education and justice, and we must ensure that high-quality, gender-sensitive services for survivors of sexual and gender-based violence. At Partners in Health, we work to advance the field of global health delivery. The future of global health delivery depends on the education and training of the next generation of global health leaders at every level of care. Global leaders who can assess health challenges and propose innovative solutions through the lens of social justice. And over the past 3 decades, we have learned that the best way to invest in a system is to invest in its people. Partners in Health, we prioritize climate change and understand how critical this commitment is to the ecological, societal, and financial stability of the countries and regions where we work. We believe that our approach to addressing climate change should be grounded in evidence-based research, supported by data, and in alignment with international agreements, including the Paris Agreement of the parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. We at Partners in Health, we also believe that addressing climate change and being accountable for our greenhouse gas emissions is in the best interest of our patients, our stakeholders, and the future health of the ecosystems we collectively share. This innovative wastewater treatment system sets a new standard for low-cost, scalable treatment for a region with no infrastructure and high rates of waterborne diseases such as cholera. The facility has great potential in influencing the future of water and sanitation development throughout Haiti and the Caribbean region. Complex system to solve complex challenges. Because there is no single solution for global health equity. We must have the will and imagination to build integrated systems. We partner with local entities around the world to improve health policies, systems, and infrastructure. We understand our model is unique. We use what we have learned to reimagine complex systems. We build national training resources, including universities and teaching hospitals. Yes, I'm a proud mother of 64 children. I'm a co-founder and executive director of Zami Beni, a children's home born out of a terrible tragedy, the earthquake that devastated Haiti on January 12, 2010. A group of extremely vulnerable children was left homeless in the aftermath of the earthquake. These children and young adults, many of whom were disabled, orphaned, or abused, were living in a single ward at the public hospital in Port-au-Prince. Since that fateful day, they are my children, and we live together in Haiti. We believe caring for vulnerable children is our moral responsibility, and that all children are entitled to live with dignity and access to the goods and services that make human quality of life possible. We believe in an inclusive, family-based care model in which each child is known and loved for who they uniquely are, and each child has the opportunity to form long-term, loving relationships with adults and their peers. we strive to maintain a focus on gender equity and to create an atmosphere where tolerance, dignity, respect, and love prevail. We practice the accompaniment model by providing a forever home with nutritious food, shelter, medical services, education, and companionship. We promote a positive view of disability in which each child is recognized as a person with rights and has access to full inclusion in all of life's major activities. When most organizations are ready to leave, when the emergency is over, we stay. PIH stays and we focus on the individual, including screening, treatment, and long-term care for mental health challenges. We continue to provide mental health care in Sierra Leone and in Haiti after conflict, natural disasters, where post-traumatic stress syndrome is a reality, where medications for treating bipolar disorder is available, along with everyday medicines, where counseling at home and communities is possible, where we do not give up on individuals when others have walked away. Our colleagues in Peru use mobile vans equipped with automated radiography to screen more than 30,000 people for TB each year. Here we have Dr. Sanchez examining a TB patient in Caraballo district in Lima, Peru. TB Mobile provides free screening for people where they live and work with a case detection rate that's nearly 8 times as high as routine screening rates at the health center level. While I have shared some of my story and the story of Partners in Health over the last 30 years, this is only part of the greater picture. In 26, PIH premiered the documentary Bending the Arc, the story of Partners in Health, and how we made what many said was impossible, possible. We have never accepted no for an answer. I urge you to watch our documentary. I urge you to never take no for an answer. Together, we can cure injustice. I very much like the inspiration from the Honorable Chair of C20, Ama, our mother, when she referred to the world being one family and that we should all think with one mind and one goal. Tout le monde c'est monde. Everyone is human. Une terre, une famille, une future. One health, one family, one future. I would like to especially thank Dr. Satak Das, CEO of the Asia-Pacific Leaders Malaria Alliance, APLMA, for thinking of me and the work of Partners in Health and make it possible for me to be with you today. Merci beaucoup, merci un pile. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. We do have the luxury of a little bit of time, and so I thought we could take this opportunity, if you don't mind, to ask a few questions. When you were presenting, I assumed that the mental health services that you talked about being part of the work that you do, I imagine that those might have come later in the progression of the work. Can you tell us how you came to determine that there was a strong need to incorporate attention to mental health into this work, and comment on any challenges you may have faced in doing that?
So our vision and our mission is to see the person as a whole. When a patient came to our clinic, we don't see the disease, we see the person. So mental health from the beginning was the need that we identified. That was the need in the communities where we work, either in Sierra Leone or Haiti in particular, especially after disasters, earthquake, and so that was part of our team identified that mental health was needed. So we have a team of all over like 1,000 social workers, therapists, and psychiatrists working with our patients.
And I also noticed in your presentation that in the work that you do, you incorporate a lot of sustainable solutions. As you're building facilities, I saw the slide about the solar power and this sort of thing. That is a tremendously evolved approach. You are already taking action for addressing health of the individual as linked inextricably to health of the planet. Has it been at all a struggle to invite investment in that? Are there any forces against this kind of sustainable solutions in health?
No, I mean, it might seem like easy, but it's over the years that when we identify a need, we have to fundraise, we have to find the people to help us, for example, the solar system. It's only recently, after 2010, that we realized that we have to have a solar system, especially in a country like Haiti where power, that we don't have, the grid doesn't work, and then the rural area where we work, so we invest in solar system. And then with the climate issue that we have now, so all the reason that we now, all our new constructions, either in Haiti and in other places where we work, solar power is part of the infrastructure.
That's excellent and an inspiration for the rest of us. So you mentioned after 2010, that's the earthquake that happened in Haiti. So the effects of climate change and the climate crisis in Haiti, are you seeing the effects of that? Are there more frequent waterborne illnesses? Are there more frequent outbreaks of malaria, this sort of thing? How are you experiencing the climate crisis there in Haiti?
Oh, we've been having, as part, I don't know, I know Haiti is very far from here, so I don't know if you follow what's happening in Haiti, but for the last 15 years, we've been having a share of disasters, earthquake. Every year, the rainy season, so we we're thinking of the earthquake, I'm sorry, we're thinking of the natural disasters. Any little rain that, in the rainy season, so we concerned about flood, about people, losing their homes, and so it's been very challenging for us in Haiti. Not necessarily where we work, but in Haiti as a whole, the country. I don't know if I answer.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I just wanted to ask a question. I'm on behalf of the Working Group on Integrated Holistic Health to Andy as well. And I think I can speak on behalf of Nidhi as well from the Working Group on Disability. We have been trying, as the Troika this year all represents the Global South, we have been trying to come up with policy recommendations, and all the discussions we've been having over the past 6 months or so has been on how do we reach areas like Haiti? How do we reach areas that do not necessarily have financial means, do not necessarily have accessibility, like Papua New Guinea, where you have been working a lot recently, not recently, for a long time. You've been part of all the discussions that we've had, and how do you see that being implemented in areas like that? And what would we need, what would be our next step to actually try to make a difference in areas that are beyond the end of the road?
I'll go first so we can save the best for last. So it's an excellent question, and of course a very difficult question to answer, but we can certainly discuss. I can say a few words about the experience in Papua New Guinea, particularly working with people who live in very remote conditions where you can only reach there either through very small aircraft or by walking for about 3 days over very rough terrain. So you can imagine the challenge when there are people with disabilities living in places like that, and there are. Obtaining assistive technology that is portable enough to actually be brought to a place like that and can function in a place that is so rugged with very, very steep inclines and no pavement and so many rocks and mud and that sort of thing. It's quite a challenge. We certainly have done better by creating what we call networks of care so that there's less isolation for these very, very remote outposts. If you can imagine sort of a hub and spoke model where there's sort of a central curative facility that has a lot of resources in terms of personnel with skill and equipment, and they actively communicate with providers who don't have as much training and experience, but they are present every day with these people in very remote areas who need help. And so this building the network of care where there's a mutual acceptance of responsibility for the outcomes of an entire catchment area has been quite a powerful solution. It means that no one feels quite abandoned to operate on their own. There's always someone who will respond to a call, even if it requires requesting a helicopter to medevac, for example, a woman in obstructed labor, something of that nature. So really building these networks of care has been something that has helped us a lot. But in terms of the assistive technology for people with disabilities, that's something we're still working on trying to find better solutions for.
Thank you for your question. In terms of Haiti, I'm sorry, the question was the disability or?
No, just in general, when we talk about public health and creating systems to enhance the quality of public health, it often, this is a G20 forum, and what gets left behind are the countries that do not necessarily have the same level of resources or infrastructure in place. So how can we contribute our dialogues and our conversations to reach areas that are much less they're underserved? And as somebody working in such an area, where do you see that public policy can really make a big difference?
Okay. So that's why you don't have to be everywhere. That's why we make partnership. So we work with partners, and we can be, when I said we partners in health, and there are other organizations working in Haiti who can partner with you, with everyone, so we can have one voice, because as we said, it's one world, one earth, one family. So where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm willing to be the ambassador, if you will, to connect all of us, or to try to connect all of us, so we each can do the best we can to help each other.
So I think we are still waiting for the next speaker to come. So we're just discussing aspects in and around health and disability. Gopiji, would you like to share your thoughts in this area?
Thank you very much, Dr. Priya. I wanted to complicate matters a little bit. By introducing something from the human rights perspective on health. Because otherwise, health is left only to health professionals. And health is too serious a matter to be left only to health professionals. So I want to introduce an idea from the International Convention on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, which recognizes the challenges, but also speaks to the highest attainable standards of health. That health is included in the International Covenant of Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. But in the way it is formulated, in the way it deals with health, also contains the inherent challenge that nations have to take responsibility, they have to do X, Y, Z. This kind of covers several areas. For example, the Working Group on Integrated Holistic Health speaks about waivers to intellectual property rights regimes. That's a challenging area, because the moment you try to open the door even slightly, you get so much of resistance about the enforcement, the enforcement angle of intellectual property rights, and very little in terms of the humane considerations there. The other is effectiveness of public health insurance systems in developing countries. Another huge challenge. A third one is the efficacy and effectiveness of basic public health services across the country. Again, you spoke about the access, etc., etc. Even in vast tracts of India, in various parts of India, you still have the same problems. I think you refer to them. I mean, it's a universal thing in the developing countries in some ways. So the challenge goes beyond health. The challenge goes to other cross-cutting areas as they were, and it requires a humongous effort on the part of the national governments, but equally the role that international cooperation through WHO, through the United Nations bodies, UNICEF, UNFPA, and various others, I think it's truly a challenging task. Thank you.
So before, I think our speaker's coming in 5 minutes, so we have a little bit of time. Are there any questions or any thoughts to share in the audience? We'd be happy to take the questions. Sure, is there a mic that could be shared to the audience?
Okay. Since we have a little bit of time, thank you so much, Madame. Merci beaucoup. You mentioned at one point that you don't take any external finance. Is that correct? Did I hear that you don't get any external funding for your work? Vous avez... Yeah, we do. You do, okay, but you're financially self-sufficient in that sense. You're not, okay, so that maybe I misunderstood that. I was really intrigued by the way you sustain your work in different parts of the world and make it happen probably also with a limited amount of resources. Maybe you would want to elaborate a bit on that. Thank you so much.
Well, that wasn't a question. That was a question. No, I mean, I stressed that it was not like all the things I mentioned that we were able to do for our patients, for the communities, wasn't like the next day. We had to identify the need, work with the communities, and find the resources to make them happen.
Yes. Thank you very much for this session. Sorry, am I audible? Yes. Okay, thank you very much for this session. I think holistic well-being and inclusive society is so important. I'm Nidhi Goyal. I'm on the steering committee of Civil 20
Hello,
as well.
ma'am.
Yes.
We are working for one earth, one family, one future. Hello? We are working for one earth, one family, one future. Today is the main problem is disability. How can world resolve this problem, get together?
Sorry, wasn't I speaking?
Today there is a problem of disability. How can world resolve this problem for using one platform?
I'm sorry, it was how come we resolve the problem of
Disability.
I don't think so. I'm sorry. Of disability?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, disability. Wow, that's a tough one. How come we, depends. Because, you know, I mean, we have to recognize, first we have to recognize that every human is human. So you're important. So it depends on the disability. For example, in my case with my children, some of them, they were disabled because of the earthquake, and some like mental health, and some with like, so each disability, like again, in my case, each child is, sorry, I guess okay. There's some movement, so I don't know. So each child is treated, is we use the accompaniment model, you know? I don't know, I mean, we don't resolve the problem of disability. But we recognize that the child
Thank you so much, Loon. We are lucky that we have Dr. C.P. Joshi has joined us, Honorable Speaker of the Rajasthan Legislative Assembly. Dr. C.P. Joshi, he is the Speaker of the Rajasthan Legislative Assembly and member of Legislative Assembly, MLA. He was previously a member of Parliament of India from Bhilwara in the 15th Lok Sabha. He was one of the first 19 members of India's new cabinet sworn in on the 22nd of May 2009, despite being a first-time member of the Lok Sabha. As a union member, he held key portfolios such as road transport and highways and rural development and Panchayati Raj in the second Manmohan Singh ministry. He was also a cabinet minister of the government of Rajasthan from 1998 to 2003. I would like to welcome the Honorable C.P. Joshi to the podium to please give us his address. Welcome.
Distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen, before I speak my mind, because I am well versed with speaking my language of Hindi language, but before that, I just want to give my comments in writing about the summit. Namaste and greetings to those gathered here for this auspicious summit at the conclusion of Indian C20 dialogue. At the public launch of the C20 logo in January this year, the C20 chair, Mata Amrita Devi, or Amma, spoke about the principle of unity, solidarity, and compensation that must form the foundation of our approach to civil society. In reviewing the accomplishment and hundreds of policy dialogue, public awareness events, Chopal, Samaj, Salas, Ambassadors Program, it is apparent that these values have indeed guided India's C20 process. For this, I applauded the chair, Amma, and the working group coordinators and team present here and online. India's G20 presidency has laid the foundation of prioritizing here the voice of the people. At the G20 logo, Vasudev Kutumbakam indicates the focus is on building connections between individuals, groups, and nations with the vision of one earth, one family, one future. Taking precedence, this distinctly Indian approach to the G20 presidency has set the stage for Amma wisdom to guide the efforts of the C20 working group with an emphasis on sustainable development, compassion, and social service. Amma, in her inaugural speeches and leadership throughout, has continually guided the C20 members to prioritize compassion, to maintain enthusiasm, and to listen and respond to the needs of the people. Her message of "You are the light" inspired the personal responsibility and self-confidence that we can indeed make a difference. Further, Amma's insistence that all people, regardless of gender, class, caste, nationality, religion, race, or backgrounds, deserve respect and dignity, sets the stage for ethical and sustainable policies. The C20 provides a platform for civil society organizations worldwide to voice the people's aspiration, intending to protect the essence of sector and promote social and economic development with the vision that no one should be left behind. Thanks to Amma's leadership and the tireless efforts of the working group leads across the C20 network, this past year has been filled with dialogue reflecting the unique perspective of CSO2 and platform for open and productive dialogue between civil society, government, industry, academia, and all these stakeholders. What this has demonstrated is that civil society is able to fill in critical gaps between stakeholders, especially between citizen and their government, in times of disasters, conflict, and emergency. It has been the civil society that has stepped it to support the government and offered timeless assistance, recovery plans, and support on every level, using the flexibility and freedom of movement that is hallmark of CS2. It is this convergence of CSOs with other stakeholders that provide the best possible services to nation and giving space. Gentlemen and friends, I said it, I'll articulate my feeling in Hindi. So let me have the privilege to speak my thought in Hindi. I hope that you will be able to translate it into English. So let me address it. What do we mean by holistic well-being? Holistic well-being, according to me, refers to the overall health and wellness of an individual that encompasses physical, mental, emotional, and social aspects. It emphasizes the interconnectedness of these different aspects and the need to address them collectively for optimum well-being. Inclusive societies, on the other hand, are those that promote and ensure equal opportunities, rights, and participation for all members, regardless of their socio-economic culture or physical differences. Inclusive societies strive to create an environment where everyone feels valued, respected, and included. The concept of holistic well-being and inclusive societies are closely intertwined. Inclusive societies recognize that the holistic well-being cannot be achieved unless everyone in this community is provided with equal access to resources, services, and opportunities. This includes access to quality healthcare, education, employment, and social support of system. मैंने ये दोनों बातें इसलिए कही कि होलिस्टिक वेलबींग और इंक्लूसिव सोसाइटी दोनों इंटरकनेक्टेड है. हम ग्लोब में चीज़ों को देखते हैं तो जो गवर्नेंस का हमारा कॉन्सेप्ट है, जिस गवर्नेंस के कॉन्सेप्ट से हम सोसाइटी को आगे बढ़ाने का काम कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग स्टेट्स से पॉलिसी बना के काम कर रही है, उसमें मोटे तौर पर हर नेशंस में अलग अलग तरह की डिप्राइवेशन है. से दे आर डिप्राइवेशन इफ यू गो बाय कास्ट लाइन, इन एवरी country we have major and minor castes. If you go in every country, we have the biases about genders, male and female. If you see the functioning of the government, we see there are number of opportunities not given to the deprived sections. Say for example, society जहाँ पर haves लोग को पढ़ने का मौका मिलता है, वो बच्चे हैं जिन लोगों को मेट्रोज में पढ़ने का मौका मिलता है. They have an opportunity to go to the public school. But think about the vulnerable sections reside in the far-flung area of the village. Those people are having no opportunity to have an English medium schools. So the education itself is giving an unequal opportunity to the citizen of the country. अब हम एजुकेशन को समझते हैं कि अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलनी चाहिए जिससे व्यक्ति आगे बढ़ने की अपॉर्चुनिटी को अवेल कर सके. सो वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट इंग्रेडिएंट इज अपॉर्चुनिटी, इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी फॉर एजुकेशन. तो कोई भी राष्ट्र जब तक इस तरह की शिक्षा नीति नहीं बनाएगा जहां समाज के हर वर्ग को एक तरह की शिक्षा मिलने का अवसर मिले, वहां शिक्षा के अलग अलग तरीके हैं, वहां सोसाइटी में अपॉर्चुनिटी को डिप्राइव करते हैं. से फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू कैन नॉट आर्टिकुलेट योर फीलिंग इन इंग्लिश, you have the less opportunity to be employed in the enterprises where you require to have the knowledge of English. So large number of people who have no opportunity to learn English will always deprived with this. So total society के well-being में education एक important aspect हो सकता है जो opportunity को avail करने का मौका दिया जा सकता है. Say for example gender equality. Say for Indian society we have a predominantly system though we call about gender equity होनी चाहिए. पर हिंदुस्तान में आज भी आज़ादी के 75 साल बाद भी डिसीजन लेने का निर्णय हस्बैंड डिसाइड करता है, वाइफ डिसाइड नहीं करती है. तो ये कहना बहुत सरल है कि भाई जेंडर इक्विटी होनी चाहिए, लेकिन ट्रेडिशनली इथोस जो चाइल्ड रियरिंग प्रैक्टिस से जो उनको इनकलकेट किया गया, वो इनकलकेट किया गया कि वुमेन को अपने हस्बैंड की बात को मानना चाहिए, सोसाइटी के वेल बींग के लिए इस तरह की ट्रेनिंग दी जानी चाहिए। ये सोसाइटी के अंदर ही हमने इनकलकेट कर रखा है, और हम आगे आशा करें कि दोनों में जेंडर इक्विटी होगी, इट इज़ वेरी डिफिकल्ट। जब तक समाज खुद ही आगे आकर इस तरह की चाइल्ड रियरिंग प्रैक्टिसेस को एनकरेज नहीं करेगा, तब तक स्कूल के माध्यम से, एजुकेशन के माध्यम से हम समझें कि एक ऐसा समाज बनेगा जिस समाज में जेंडर इक्विटी हो जाएगी। मैं समझता हूँ कि एक बहुत बड़ी चुनौती जो सबके समाज के सामने है, वो चुनौती का मुकाबला जहाँ सरकार करेगी, वहाँ पर जो सिविल सोसाइटी है वो इस जेंडर इक्विटी के गैप को पूरा करने के लिए एक प्रेशर ग्रुप का काम कर सकती है, जिससे करिकुलम में इस तरह की स्थितियां बने कि वो करिकुलम में बच्चों को राइट फ्रॉम बिगनिंग स्कूल जो एजुकेशन है उसमें उसका मेंटल आउटलुक इस तरह का हो कि हमें जाकर इस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन को ओवरकम करना है। ठीक इसी प्रकार एंटरप्रेन्योर जो स्किल है वो इट कैन नॉट बी एंटरप्रेन्योर स्किल इनबॉर्न भी है। मैकलेन ने कॉन्सेप्ट दिया, आप थ्रू आउट वर्ड उठा के देख ले, वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट दी एंटरप्रेन्योर का जो करेक्टर है उसमें एक चीज़ लिखी हुई है, सबसे मोटी चीज़, वो मॉडरेट रिस्क लेगा, माइग्रेंट आदमी है, वो चीज़ों को मैनेज करने का काम कर सकेगा। ये हमने एस्टेब्लिश किया है कि मैकलेन ने ये क्या है कि एंटरप्रेन्योर्स जो हैं दुनिया में अलग अलग जगह पर, उनमें कुछ कम्युनिटी में इनबॉर्न उसमें एक क्वालिटी है कि वो मॉडरेट रिस्क लेते हैं, बट देयर आर नंबर ऑफ पीपल हु कैन नॉट टेक इट। अब हम सामाजिक विषमताओं को दूर करने के लिए सरकार पॉलिसी बनाती है, कानून नियम बनाती है, और नियम बनाकर सब्सिडी देती है, एंटरप्रेन्योर को आगे बढ़ाने का काम करती है, पर एंटरप्रेन्योर स्किल को इनकलकेट ही हमने नहीं किया, तो वो अपॉर्चुनिटी का जो अवेल करने का काम करेगा वही करेगा जिसमें इनबॉर्न ये स्थिति बनी हुई है। तो जो सामाजिक विषमताओं की एक बड़ी जो अवधारणा सरकार गवर्नेंस करने के बाद जितनी पॉलिसी बना रही है, उस पॉलिसी में आप बैंक की सुविधा दें, आप इंसेंटिव दें, आपके हम सब्सिडी देंगे, उसका एडवांटेज कौन उठाएगा? उसका मोटा एडवांटेज वो उठाएगा जिसमें इनबॉर्न एंटरप्रेन्योर इनबॉर्न उसमें क्वालिटी है। यदि इनबॉर्न क्वालिटी नहीं है तो सारी सरकार की पॉलिसी इस तरह से बनने के बाद भी समाज का वो वनरेबल सेक्शन उसमें डिप्राइव हो जाएगा। तो जो सरकार की जो गवर्नेंस की पॉलिसी है, उस गवर्नेंस की पॉलिसी में इन बिल्ड आपको लेयर सिस्टम करना पड़ेगा। इट कैन नॉट बी यूनिफॉर्म। आप एक ही तरह की व्यवस्था बनाकर आप समझते हैं कि समाज में एंटरप्रेन्योर क्षमता के लोग आ जाएंगे, तो आप उठा के देख लीजिए समाज का जो सबसे वनरेबल सेक्शन है, से फॉर एग्जांपल SC, ST, OBC, एंड कंपेयर विद दोज पीपल हु आर फ्रॉम द अदर कम्युनिटीज़, तो जितनी गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसीज़ का एडवांटेज उठाया है, वो एडवांटेज उन लोगों ने उठाया जिनमें ऑलरेडी वो क्षमता थी, और जिनमें एक क्षमता नहीं थी वो इन चीज़ों को नहीं कर पाए। अब ये मोटा चैलेंज है, हम एजुकेशन के माध्यम से कैन वी इनकलकेट द एंटरप्रेन्योर क्वालिटीज अमंग द पीपल हु आर द डिप्राइव्ड सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी। ये बड़ी चुनौती है शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में, हम किस तरह से इन चीज़ों को करें। अब जो लेटेस्ट चीज़ें आ रही है कि IQ से ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है EQ। आर वी इम्पार्टिंग द EQ अमंग द स्टूडेंट्स? हमने जो करिकुलम बनाया उसने इमोशनल कोशेंट को इनकलकेट करके हम उस आदमी को सक्सेसफुल बनाने के लिए कल्पना की जा सकती है, लेकिन इमोशनल कोशेंट में वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ये है कि यू डेफर योर ग्रेटिफिकेशन। भविष्य के लाभ के लिए आपको ग्रेटिफिकेशन को डेफर करना है। ये चीज़ों को आप इन बिल्ड बच्चों में सिखाया जा सकता है, पर हमारे करिकुलम में हम इन चीज़ों को सिखाने जगह नहीं दे रहे। हम आज भी कहते हैं कि IQ इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट देन EQ, बट द लेटेस्ट जो लोगों का दिमाग में जो रिसर्च आई है वो रिसर्च बताती है कि इट इज़ मोर इम्पोर्टेंट दैट यू इनकलकेट EQ अमंग दी सिटीजन्स। अब कितने हम करिकुलम में EQ को इनकलकेट करने का काम कर रहे हैं, विद द रिजल्ट्स जो इंटॉलरेंस बढ़ रही है सोसाइटी बाई एंड लार्ज। इफ समबडी आस्क, द इंटॉलरेंस बढ़ रही है, एग्रेशन बढ़ रहा है, चीज़ों के प्रति आक्रोश बढ़ रहा है, उसको लॉ और ऑर्डर को हाथ में लेने का काम कर रहे हैं। वन ऑफ द रीजन अकॉर्डिंग टू मी, आस्क मी, एंड वी आर अनेबल टू इनकलकेट द वैल्यू ऑफ EQ अमंग द स्टूडेंट्स। वही नौजवान आदमी आगे आकर चुनौतियों का मुकाबला करने के लिए अपने इमोशनल को कंट्रोल करके ग्रेटिफिकेशन को डेफर करने का नहीं सीखेगा, तो उसका एग्रेशन किसी न किसी जगह पर बाहर निकलने का काम करेगा। तो द एंटायर सोसाइटी के जो गवर्नेंस है, वेदर इट इज एजुकेशन, वेदर इट इज इकोनॉमिक पॉलिसीज, वेदर इट इज सोशल डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, धर्म की बात ले लें हम, लेट अस टॉक अबाउट रिलीजन। कोई धर्म ऐसा है जो धर्म बताता है कि एग्रेशन होना चाहिए, कोई धर्म बताता है जिसमें हेट्रेड होनी चाहिए। फिर अलग अलग धर्म के मानने वाले लोग एक दूसरे के प्रति हेट्रेड क्यों कर रहे हैं? इसका मतलब कॉमन डिराइव हमने उसमें निकाल नहीं पाए कि हर धर्म को मानने के लिए एक कॉमन चीज़ है, एक कॉमन डिनोमीटर है। उस कॉमन डिनोमीटर को हम सब में इंक्लूड करें कि यू हैव प्रैक्टिस ऑफ एनी रिलीजन यू बिलीव इट, बट देयर इज अ कॉमन डिनोमीटर वेदर यू आर हिंदू, वेदर मुस्लिम, वेदर सिख और यू ईसाई, एनीबडी, एनी यू फॉलो एनी रिलीजन, बट हर रिलीजन में एक कॉमन चीज़ है। उस कॉमन चीज़ को सिखाने के लिए हम किसी चीज़ों को इनकलकेट करने का काम ही नहीं कर रहे हैं। जब हम ये इनकलकेट करने का काम ही नहीं कर रहे हैं तो उसके पास चॉइस है वो किस तरह से उस चीज़ों को करे। क्या ऐसी शिक्षा पद्धति के अंदर हमें नहीं आइडेंटिफाई करना चाहिए कि ये कॉमन करिकुलम होगा, उस कॉमन करिकुलम में यू हैव योर फेथ इन योर रिलीजन, बट दीज आर द कॉमन थिंग्स जो हर धर्म सिखाती है, वो हर एक बच्चों को सिखाने के लिए हम कह सकें यू प्रैक्टिस एनीथिंग, बट ये कॉमन चीज़ें हैं। प्रेम रखो, श्रद्धा रखो, प्यार रखो, नफरत मत करो, ये तो कोई भी धर्म है जो मना नहीं कर रहा है। फिर उस धर्म को इनकलकेट करने के लिए हम चीज़ों को सिखाने के संबंध में क्यों काम कर रहे हैं? वाई वी आर लिविंग इट, नॉट गिविंग दिस स्पेस इन करिकुलम एंड लेट द इंडिविजुअल डिसाइड इट हाउ ही वांट्स टू बिहेव इट। तो जब सोसाइटी में हम चीज़ों को करना है तो इस डिस्क्रिमिनेशन के अंतर्गत डाइवर्सिटी होगी, डाइवर्सिटी होनी भी चाहिए। अलग अलग मान्यताओं को मानने वाले लोग रहेंगे और यही एक ताकत है कि दुनिया में जो परिवर्तन हुआ उसमें एक वन ऑफ द रीजन अलग अलग धर्म को मानने वाले लोगों ने अपने धर्म की प्रैक्टिसेस के बाद भी सोसाइटी को आगे बढ़ाने का काम किया। ये तो अच्छी चीज़ है, पर उनमें जो अच्छी चीज़ें हैं उनको कॉमन डिनोमीटर को बताकर हम लोगों को क्यों नहीं एक्सपोज करें। मैं समझता हूँ कि रिलीजन के संबंध में भी एक प्लेटफॉर्म पर कहीं न कहीं ये चर्चा की जानी चाहिए कि कैन वी आइडेंटिफाई समथिंग कॉमन इन एवरी रिलीजन, इफ वी कैन आइडेंटिफाई इट देन वी हैव टू कम्युनिकेट इट। सो दोज थिंग्स वी हैव टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट हाउ वी कैन थिंक इट। तब मैंने कहा कि मैंने कोट किया कि होलिस्टिक अचीवमेंट की हम बात करते हैं तो उसमें फिजिकल आएगा। आप जो फिजिकल करते हैं, हाउ मेनी पीपल कैन अफोर्ड द बेस्ट मेडिकल फैसिलिटीज अवेलेबल टुडे, हाउ मेनी डिस्क्रिमिनेशन। आप देखिए, आप बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंग में आई जस्ट वांट टू शेयर माय एक्सपीरियंस। कोरोना का आप उदाहरण उठा के देख लीजिए। कोरोना का जितने डेवलप कंट्री थे, वैक्सीन किसने डेवलप किया? इंडिया ने डेवलप किया। वैक्सीन में इतने डेवलप कंट्री में सारी मॉडर्न चीज़ों को बात किया हमने। Then you see the very interesting phenomena. सबसे कम कैजुअलिटी, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड इट, सबसे कम कैजुअलिटी उस वनरेबल सेक्शन की हुई है जो सन के अंदर रहता है, जो गरीब है, आदिवासी है, जंगल में रहता है। यू जस्ट सी द स्टैटिस्टिक्स। सबसे द फर्स्ट वेव, सेकेंड वेव, और फर्स्ट और सेकेंड वेव के बाद आज पोस्ट कोरोना जो आदमी तकलीफ में है वो हैव्स है, जिन्होंने मेडिकल फैसिलिटी ली, जो मेट्रो में रहते थे, उनकी प्रॉब्लम है। लेकिन गांव का गरीब आदमी जो माइग्रेट होकर चला गया गांव के अंतर्गत, जो सुदूर इलाके में रहता है, जो आदिवासी है, जहाँ उसके रहने की लाइफ स्टाइल देखिए। बट सन एक ऐसी चीज़ है जो सूर्य सब जगह उपलब्ध है, सफाई सब जगह उपलब्ध है, बिकॉज जो डेंसिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन अर्बन में है वो डेंसिटी ऑफ पॉपुलेशन रूरल एरिया में नहीं है। तो सी दी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फिनोमेना, वी आर अनेबल टू डिराइव द इन्फ्रेंसेस दैट कोरोना के बाद कैजुअलिटी कहाँ नहीं हुई, कहाँ नहीं हुई। वो वनरेबल सेक्शन जो धूप में रहता है, जो वनरेबल सेक्शन नेचर के साथ रहता है, जहाँ एनवायरमेंट क्लियरेंस है, वहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा कैजुअलिटी हुई है। इफ इट इज़ फैक्ट देन वाई शुड नॉट इनकलकेट दिस थिंग्स। हम आज की डेट में प्रिवेंटिव मेडिसिन के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं क्या? वी नेवर टॉक अबाउट प्रिवेंटिव मेडिसिन, वी टॉक अबाउट पोस्ट मेडिसिन। बीमार हो जाएगा तब इलाज करेंगे, इलाज के लिए दवाइयाँ करेंगे, उसके लिए बेस्ट ट्रीटमेंट करेंगे, पर बीमार नहीं होगा इसको सिखाने का हम काम कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं। जब बीमार नहीं होगा तो उसके एनवायरनमेंट का भी रोल आएगा कि अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट होना चाहिए, फूड हैबिट्स ठीक जगह की होनी चाहिए, ऑर्गेनिक प्रोडक्ट होना चाहिए। ये तो पूरी उठा के देख लें, एक वे ऑफ लाइफ जो हिंदू संस्कृति में उसमें रहने वाले लोग हैं, जंगल में रहते थे, ये करते थे, आज भी कहते हैं भाई एनिमल फूड की जगह आप ट्री बेस्ड फूड लीजिए। ये सब चीज़ें क्यों सामने आ रही है? मैं समझता हूँ कि इनके संबंध में एक रिसर्च ग्रुप बनना चाहिए जो G20 के अंतर्गत जो अलग अलग नेशंस हैं उनमें जो कॉमन चीज़ है। आई एम शेयरिंग माई एक्सपीरियंस, बट बेटर एक्सपीरियंस यू कैन शेयर फ्रॉम अदर पार्ट ऑफ द ग्लोब हु आर पार्टिसिपेटिंग हियर, बट समथिंग वी हैव टू कमिट। और उसमें G20 के अंदर जो C20 का जो रोल है वो मोर इंपॉर्टेंट रोल है, सो दैट द गवर्नमेंट कैन टेक लीड इनटू इट। बट पॉलिसीज कौन बनाता? पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज की अपनी फिलोसफी है, उनकी अपनी इथोस है, उनके अपने काम है, पर जो गैप है बिटवीन दिस, वो गैप तो सिविल सोसाइटी भरेगी। और सिविल सोसाइटी का कोई रोल ये नहीं कि मैं सरकार बनानी कि नहीं बनानी। सिविल सोसाइटी का मोटा रोल है सोसाइटी बाई लार्ज में परिवर्तन होना चाहिए, सोसाइटी के बाई लार्ज वेलबींग का काम होना चाहिए। इसीलिए जो टॉपिक आपने रखा आपने कि होलिस्टिक वेलबींग अकॉर्डिंग टू मी कैन नॉट बी दी पार्ट एंड पार्सल ऑफ द गवर्नेंस। गवर्नेंस में डेफिशिएंसी रहेगी, वो तो बाहर प्लान बनाएगी 5 साल 10 साल 15 साल, पर होलिस्टिक वेल बीइंग का सबसे अच्छा जो परसुएशन करने वाला है, जो वॉचडॉग की एजेंसी का काम कर सकता है, वो तो सिविल सोसाइटी कर सकती है। वो सिविल सोसाइटी ने जो रोल अपनाया है उसकी स्पेस और ज़्यादा क्रिएट करने की ज़रूरत है। सिविल सोसाइटी कैनॉट बी द follower of the government. Civil society will have to have a different role, जहाँ गवर्नमेंट की पॉलिसी और पब्लिक के बीच में जो गैप है, उस गैप को आइडेंटिफाई कराकर पॉलिसी में कैसे इसमें वो चीज़ तो सिविल सोसाइटी निकालेगी जो इंडिपेंडेंट, जिसका कोई रोल इसमें नहीं है। मैं समझता हूँ कि उस दृष्टि से ये जो आप जो कंक्लूड करें, आई डोंट वांट टू टेक मच टाइम, बट आई थॉट इट आई विल शेयर माय कंसर्न अबाउट दिस। और इसी तरह से मैंने कहा है कि आप अपॉर्चुनिटी, इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी कैसे मिलेगी समाज में? इक्वल अपॉर्चुनिटी एक ही कॉमन चीज़ है, किसी भी धर्म किसी जाति में पैदा हो, एजुकेशन हमने ठीक ढंग से इम्पार्ट कर दी तो चीज़ों को देखने और समझने की आदमी में क्षमता आ जाएगी। सो वन ऑफ द इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ जो सोसाइटी में बदलाव करने का काम कर सकती है वो है एजुकेशन। और एजुकेशन के करिकुलम में ये जो अलग अलग लेकुना है, डिफरेंट है, कॉमन थ्रेड है, उसको निकालने की ज़रूरत है। और आज की डेट में ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है हम एक ऐसे विश्व की कल्पना करें जिस विश्व में प्यार होगा, सद्भाव होगा, स्नेह होगा, दूसरे के प्रति रेस्पेक्ट होगा, दूसरे रिलीजन के प्रति हम रेस्पेक्ट रखेंगे। ये जो चीज़ें हमें इनकलकेट करनी है वो हम वैक्यूम में नहीं कर सकते। उसको वैक्यूम में नहीं करने के लिए हमें इस बात पर चर्चा की जानी चाहिए कि कैन वी थिंक अबाउट ए कॉमन सिलेबस फॉर एटलीस्ट टू दी हैव ए प्राइमरी एजुकेशन, जहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा पर्सनालिटी व्यक्ति के व्यक्तित्व के निर्माण का जो समय होता है वो इनिशियल स्टेज पे होता है। उस स्टेज पर यदि हम करिकुलम को इस तरह से कर सकें तो मैं समझता हूँ कि बाद के फाउंडेशन के अंदर जो बच्चा समझने लग जाएगा तब उन चीज़ों को बेटर वे में कर सकेगा। और इन चीज़ों को हम एड्रेस नहीं करते हैं तो फिर वो सब्जेक्टिव आदमी एड्रेस कर रहा है और सब्जेक्टिव एड्रेस करने के कारण सोसाइटी के एबरेशन पैदा होते हैं। एंड नाउ वी हैव टू थिंक अबाउट द रोल ऑफ एआई, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो दुनिया को बदलाव करने का काम करेगा, आईटी जो दुनिया को बदलाव करने का काम कर रहा है, आर वी एड्रेसिंग दोज थिंग्स? मैं एक अपनी बात को खत्म करने से पहले एक उदाहरण देना चाहता हूँ। मैं 2 साल तक कोरोना में स्कूल बंद रहे, 2 years, और हमने बच्चों को समझाया कि क्लासरूम होगा, ब्लैक बोर्ड होगा, पढ़ाने वाला होगा। 2 साल तक तो न क्लासरूम था, न ब्लैक बोर्ड था, न पढ़ाने वाला था। अब 2 साल तक बच्चों को पढ़ाने के लिए हमने क्या किया? आईटी के माध्यम से किया, मोबाइल से पढ़ाएंगे हम। अब कल्पना कीजिए मोबाइल से वो बच्चे जिनके माँ बाप पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे, 2 साल तक जो बच्चे जिनके माँ बाप पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे, उनकी जो एजुकेशन 2 साल बाद हमने उनको आगे 2 क्लास में बैठा दिया तो 2 तरह के बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं। एक वो बच्चे जिनके माँ बाप पढ़े लिखे थे और मोबाइल पर जो टीचर पढ़ा रहा था उसके साथ वो सब एक्सचेंज कर रहे थे और शेयर कर रहे थे। दूसरी तरफ वो बच्चे जिनके माँ बाप पढ़े लिखे नहीं थे। अब जो माँ बाप पढ़े नहीं लिखे थे, ये जो 2 साल बाद एक अंतर हो गया है। अब ऐसा ही एक नया कोई चीज़ आगे दुनिया में है तो ये क्लासरूम और इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इरेलेवेंट हो जाएंगे। तो आईटी के बेस पे हम एजुकेशन करना चाहते हैं, कैसे एजुकेशन करेंगे? तो एक सोसाइटी में आज के दिन 2 तरह के बच्चे, जो हैव्स के बच्चे हैं और हैव्स नॉट के बच्चे हैं। 2 साल में कोरोना ने एजुकेशन डिप्राइवेशन पैदा कर दिया और डिप्राइवेशन को पैदा करने के लिए कोई गवर्नमेंट, कोई पॉलिसी, किसी ने आकर निर्णय किया कि इसको कैसे कंपनसेट करें? वी लेफ्ट टू नथिंग। कोई मुझे नहीं समझ में आता कि हम चीज़ों को कैसे कर रहे हैं। और इसी तरह से मैं बार बार जगह कहता हूँ, माई ओन एक्सपीरियंस आई वांट टू शेयर इट। डू यू नो इट कि हमने पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी में क्या चीज़ें कही है? पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी में कहा 3 चीज़ें हैं, विधायिका, कार्यपालिका और न्यायपालिका। दीज आर द 3 पिलर ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी। विधायिका का मतलब लाखों हजारों आदमी अपनी पॉलिसीज के आधार अपने रिप्रेजेंटेटिव चुनते हैं, वो विधायिका होती है। विधायिका जिसका बहुमत होता है उसकी एग्जीक्यूटिव होती है। और विधायिका और एग्जीक्यूटिव के कारण ही जुडिशरी अपनी पावर लेती है, जो कानून बनाने का काम है उसको ठीक ढंग से इंटरप्रेट करे। बट हाउ मेनी पीपल आर अवेयर अबाउट दिस, that how many days we are taking part, how many days the assembly and parliament is taking place? हमें मालूम है कि यदि हिंदुस्तान में, मैं तो क्लासिकल एग्जाम में देता हूँ, प्लस अंडरस्टैंड इट, स्टेट लाइक यूपी 400 MLAs and how many days assembly took place? 18 days. अब जब बताइए, जब क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन जहाँ प्लेटफॉर्म है, जहाँ गवर्नमेंट जो पॉलिसी बना रही है एग्जीक्यूटिव, उसको स्क्रूटनी करने का काम विधायिका है, उस विधायिका में स्क्रूटनी करने का ढंग का काम नहीं हो रहा है, तो फिर गवर्नेंस कैसे हो रही है? उस गवर्नेंस का इम्पैक्ट क्या आएगा? उस गैप को पूरा करने के लिए द एंटायर स्पेस इज अवेलेबल फॉर सिविल सोसाइटी। सो आई एक्सपेक्ट एज ए पार्लियामेंटेरियन दैट द सिविल सोसाइटी रोल इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट नाउ डेज, वेयर वी कैन ब्रिंग दिस थिंग्स एंड प्ले वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल. So I just don't want to take much time, but I just want to share my concern about how the democratic system, parliamentary system working and how they impacting the society by and large. उस गैप को पूरा करने के लिए ये जो हमने टॉपिक रखा और जिस टॉपिक के आधार पर पूरे 1 साल तक अम्मा के लीडरशिप में जो आपने काम करवाया, मैं हैट्स ऑफ आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं और मैं आशा करता हूं कि G20 के अंतर्गत जो हमने लीड ली है वो आने वाले समय में दुनिया को एक मार्गदर्शन देगी कि कैसे हमारे देश में वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का कॉन्सेप्ट पहले से सोचा हमने, उसको करने के लिए सारी दुनिया एक साथ मिलकर यदि यह काम करेगी तो मैं समझता हूं कि हम होलिस्टिक वेलबींग को भी कर पाएंगे और जो इंक्लूसिव सोसाइटी का कॉन्सेप्ट है उसको भी हम अटेंड कर पाएंगे। इन्हीं सब शब्दों के साथ मैं आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत करता हूं और ये मेरे लिए प्रिविलेज है कि राजस्थान की जैसे स्टेट पर आपने इसको कंक्लूड करने का निर्णय किया, तो मैं राजस्थान की पूरी जनता की तरफ से आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं और अम्मा और उनकी टीम के लोगों को बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं कि उन्होंने एक अच्छा काम करके दुनिया के सामने एक उदाहरण प्रस्तुत किया, उसके लिए भी मैं उनका बहुत बहुत आभार करता हूं। इन्हीं सब शब्दों के साथ मैं आप सबका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं उदयपुर से आया, थोड़ा लेट हो गया, उसके लिए माफ़ी चाहता हूं। धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir. Thank you very much for your kind, generous, and inspiring words. I now invite the C20 Sherpa, Ambassador Vijay Nambiar, to kindly felicitate and thank you. We also extend our gratitude to Madame Loon Bior. Om Amriteshwaraya Namaha. I'm here to make a few remarks before closing this session. At the outset, I must say I'm probably the least qualified to speak on these various topics, especially when almost everyone sitting in front of me is an expert on at least one of these themes. My only qualification for claiming to do so is the insights that I have gathered both while working in the Government of India and subsequently in the United Nations as what has now come to be known as an oversight professional. I would not speak about the themes, but would like to abuse this platform to speak a little bit about the Indian legacy, or the legacy that India is leaving behind on the C20 process. And that starts with Amma's leadership, Amma's chairmanship of the C20, how her infinite grace permeated every bit of the work of the whole of C20 this year, its success exemplified in the policy pack presented to the G20 at the inaugural function. Amma's leadership was shown also at the very beginning when she told us, "You are the light." In other words, we are the light. That was the starting point. Secondly, she elevated the entire C20 process, and I dare say, consequently, the G20 process, to a whole higher level than what had been witnessed until now. By embodying compassion as the leitmotif of her chairmanship of the C20, she embedded compassion in the entire body of C20's work. Under her guidance, the Sea Sherpa, Ambassador Vijay Nambiar, performed an outstanding job as the Sherpa of C20. I'm sorry I'm a little partisan, because our association goes back to, I think, 40 or 45 years, if I'm not mistaken. I was also privileged to work under him for 2 years. Even then, we used to call him Mr. Indefatigable, and he remains Mr. Indefatigable even today. If those of you who have seen him at work as the C20 Sherpa in the past 7 or 8 months, he remains indefatigable and totally accessible. Those are sterling qualities that we have seen in Ambassador Nambiar over the years. I must also acknowledge here the outstanding leadership of Swamiji, Swami Amrita Surupananda Puri, Sampujya Swamiji, who provided guidance to every aspect of C20 work under Amma's leadership and steered the process to its spectacular success. Again, I'm trying to be a little partial, but if you look at the coordinators of the 5 working groups that Amrita took over, the Amrita institution, the Mutt took over, one cannot but be struck by the superlative quality of its work, its their work, the methodological rigor, the content and quality, and the highly gender imbalanced 5 coordinators of the 5 Amrita working groups. Please give them a big hand. One of the outstanding contributions of C20 this year under Amma's guidance has been the recognition of accessibility and the announcement or setting up of a standalone working group on accessibility. This has been a tremendous moment for the C20 process as a whole, but also for me personally, because I have been not so much compassionate, but as intensely passionate about the issues surrounding accessibility and the challenges surrounding giving effect to accessibility. Likewise, the emphasis on utilization of advances in, or rapid advances in technology, for example, artificial intelligence and other areas, how they can contribute to a more rapid progress in the work of the areas, the substantive areas that C20 has been looking at. That has been a major accomplishment of this C20 process. Just a couple of more words on the post-2023 or post-Indian challenges, because we have set for ourselves and for the C20 a challenging agenda, an ambitious agenda, but by doing so, we have also assumed heavy responsibilities on ourselves. And I don't speak of only Amrita or only of the Indian C20, but C20 as a process and all the civil society organizations, the non-governmental organizations that have involved themselves, both national and international. I think we have assumed very onerous responsibilities for carrying forward and involving ourselves, engaging ourselves in the implementation of this agenda and spurring those actions. And as in everything, the key lies in effective follow-up, effective implementation, verifiable and measurable performance, and regular and periodic reviews, using the networks, platforms, and contacts established over the past 8 months or 9 months, carrying them forward, not just to the Brazilian chairmanship of C20, but the South African chairmanship of C20, but even beyond, far beyond, in the coming decade, so that the dreams that we or the seeds that we have sown in these 3 days actually blossom in those coming decade. Thank you very much. Namah Shivaya.
Thank you very much, Gopinathanji, and our esteemed speakers. We will now break for tea, and we will be back in the breakout sessions at 6 p.m. It will be followed by the cultural program and dinner starting at 7 p.m. Please don't forget that there's also breakout sessions happening tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. Please join us for those as well. Thank you.